Merry Christmas!
It's our last episode of 2024 before the festivities begin. And in today's episode of the Motorhome Matt podcast,
we've got a full Q&A episode for you on all things motorhoming.
That's questions and answers, in case you didn't know, and find out how you could win an Avtex TV and soundbar on Christmas morning.
Ooh.
Pull a cracker now.
Oh, go for it. Let's do it together.
Yeah.
Ready? 1, 2, 3.
I got them both. Hey!
Typical.
Welcome to the Motorhome Matt podcast. I'm Keith Gooden.
And I'm Motorhome Matt.
Industry insights and expert advice for the world of motorhomes, caravans and campervans, and brought to you by thatleisureshop.com.
Now, if you're watching on YouTube, please make sure you subscribe and click the little bell, brought to you by arrowbasecreative.co.uk. And if you're listening, make sure you follow on your favourite podcast app too.
Before we get to our jokes and acts from our crackers, it's the 12th Dave of Christmas. The 12th Dave of Christmas. Have been following it at That Leisure Shop. And Dave has a fantastic giveaway for you, an Avtex TV and soundbar to be given away on Christmas morning. Yeah. But you've got to enter.
Easy to do as well. Head to That Leisure Shop on Instagram to enter the competition. The link to that is in the description of this episode.
And you have until 11:59 p.m. on Christmas Eve to enter. 11:59 p.m. on Christmas Eve to enter. And the entries after that time will not be counted and no purchase is necessary. And stand by your phones and your computers on Christmas morning. You could be getting a Motorhome Matt call to say that you've won that Avtex TV and soundbar.
I won't be calling anyone Christmas Day.
It's the Motorhome Matt podcast. I'm Keith Gooden.
And I'm Motorhome Matt.
What's in your cracker then, Matt? Would you like a joke? How do sheep greet each other at Christmas?
How are you?
Merry Christmas to you. Well done. And where do they meet? Where do they meet?
Don't know.
In the bar.
That was a better joke than the one in your cracker. Okay, mine is, where do snowmen go to dance?
Oh, where do snowmen go to? I don't know. Where do snowmen go to dance?
A snowball.
Oh, that's very good.
I got a green hat.
Have you? I got a blue hat.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
Put that on later.
Yeah, I'm going to put that on the microphone. Yep. Okay, fair enough.
And
oh, yeah.
I think I've got.
I've got a pencil.
Have you?
Well, a third of a pencil, but it's sharpened.
I've managed to get 3 playing cards, 2 of which are double-sided, which I think is a trick.
Yeah.
And the world's smallest typeface of instructions. I can't even read those with my glasses on. I'm going to have to take a photo of that with my iPhone and zoom in on it. It is a magic trick.
Other phones are available.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I think it's a card trick, which I don't know how to perform. So there we are. Pick a card, any card.
You could rehearse it and do it at the end of the podcast.
That's rubbish. Anyway, thanks very much for the crackers.
He's such a Scrooge, isn't he?
Yeah. They were awful.
It's the Christmas Motorhome Matt podcast brought to you with thatleisureshop.com. And we've got a very special episode for you today. It's all those questions that you've been asking us. We've been trying to get through them. You ask so many. So this podcast is devoted to just your questions and Matt's answers. Okay, so first of all, let's get into it with Paul Cottrell in the Hondan Valley in Spain.
Hi Matt, and hello to Chris, Kevin and Keith, the identical triplets. This is Paul from the Hondan Valley in Alicante, Spain. My wife and I are looking to buy our first motorhome. With regard to motorhome weight and payload, what is included when the manufacturer weighs the vehicle to arrive at the net weight and therefore the payload? Are things like people, full fuel and water tanks and gas bottles included? Many thanks. Love the podcasts. Very informative. Hope to see you at the NEC. Bye.
Cheers. Thanks very much, Paul in Spain. He's going to be coming over for the NEC, he says. February one, I presume.
I presume.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, then, Matt, what's your answer?
Well, it does vary between manufacturer to manufacturer, so you would need to check with the manufacturer you're choosing. But general practice, in fact, I believe the NCC guidance is an allowance for a driver, so one person at 75 kilograms. Is that enough? A full fuel tank, 90% of fresh water. So if it's a 100-litre tank, 90 litres of fresh water. 90% of gas. Now, often that's only one bottle, not two. So if you think that gas bottles weigh typically 10 or more kilos with 6 kilos of gas in them. The vehicle's standard toolkit and wheel and jack, if a spare wheel is provided, an electric hookup cable. But I've never known how long. 10 or 20 metres, they vary in weight. There is a European guidance which does spell this out, but my advice is check with the manufacturer. But really, the only surefire way to know your payload is go and get it weighed. Take it to a weighbridge and weigh it. And remember too that any accessory that's been fitted by a dealer when the motorhome is new is not included in that calculation. So if you add an awning and it's not factory fit, or if you add a solar panel or bike rack, all this stuff is extra weight. Now, if you're buying a second-hand motorhome, a previous owner may have added loads of stuff to it that wasn't in the original brochure. So you do need to check with the manufacturer. I'm afraid it is a bit of a grey area, but surefire way, go and get it weighed.
Thanks very much, Paul. By the way, I didn't mention before, I'm mentioning again, Matt has got his nuts on the table. I do love a Christmas nut joke. Do love a Christmas nut.
They are, and you're eating them, that's the worst. There's not many left.
Stephen Moyer is in Swindon. Hi, Matt. With the introduction of a £20 a day tourist tax introduced in Scotland, do you think it'll be a bad thing for Scottish tourism? We're going to be looking at some expensive night tariffs, he says.
That's very true. Well, first off, where's the money going? If it's being invested in tourism locally, so better facilities, then surely it's got to be a good thing. Having done bits of Scotland, lots of it in fact, and some of the outlying islands, I would pay it. I'm happy to pay a daily tax because of the views and the memories that it's created for us and some amazing photographs. So I would pay. It is going to make Scotland more expensive, and maybe that will deter people. Maybe that makes it a better place as well because it becomes less busy. But if it's all, for me, it's all about where the money's going. I think Wales are on about introducing one as well.
They're talking about it, aren't they?
Yeah. To one to watch. But yeah, I think it will be, in the end, a good thing for Scotland because they can fix those blooming potholes on the Isle of Skye. Have you been there? Honestly, it's like dodging holes in the road. It's a game.
Like the surface of the moon.
It's worse than that. Honestly, it's horrendous.
Muckmoon.
And Muckmoon. And of course, caused by motorhomes and cars visiting. That's the problem. So yeah, it has to be a good thing, I think.
Cheers, Stephen. Colin Coulthard is in Harrow. Harrow.
Hi Matt, it's Colin from Harrow again. As I said to you when we last saw each other, looking to upgrade our off-grid capability, but can't afford to go to a full lithium battery setup. Seen some reference to gel nanotube batteries, which are considerably cheaper than lithium, but seem to have a similar performance. You can discharge them down to 10%, have a fast recharge, etc. I was wondering, have you heard anything about these type of batteries, and what do you think of them? We're also looking to add more solar power. We will be using the van over winter, so I was looking to go up to 360 watt of solar panels. Do you have any comments? Thanks a lot. Bye for now.
So what do you reckon then, Matt?
Well, Colin, you mentioned these batteries to me before when we met, and I must admit I was not very familiar with them, and I'm still not very familiar with them. So I contacted my friend Mark at Bluefix, and they are specialists in installing lithium kit. And Mark had this to say: I've never heard of this battery type. So if Mark hasn't heard of it, then I wasn't surprised I hadn't. There is a carbon nano gel block by Quasar, but it's not commonplace as yet. It does have the characteristics that Colin mentioned, but its availability is limited at this point in time. Given the cost of lithium phosphate these days, I can't see it revolutionising the leisure battery market. It's as heavy as lead acid too. I have seen nano gel batteries for sale as motorcycle starter batteries, but they seem to be gel batteries with a polymer-based electrolyte. I can't seem to find any detailed white papers on the subject, so perhaps it's more marketing hype. That was Mark at Bluefix. Thank you, Mark, for that. As for the solar, Colin, I would say no harm in it at all. Make sure your MPPT controller is capable of dealing with that much solar. Make sure your panels match. That's really important. And consider the weight impact they're going to have as well. And I can recommend speaking to Mark and the team at Bluefix if you want some help.
Aiden Devine is in Limerick in Ireland. He loves the videos on YouTube, the podcasts. Currently my favourite YouTube channel.
Oh, cool.
I've always been a bit confused, he says, about the price of factory-made camper vans. For example, some of the new models cost £100,000 plus. If you buy a new van such as a Ducato or Renault Master, it would cost £30,000. So if you combine a £30,000 van with a £30,000 new caravan, you get £60,000. Where does the other £50,000 come from? My caravan comparison is that if you could take, theoretically, all the items from inside a new caravan and put them into a new van, you would then be left with the chassis, walls, windows and roof of the caravan. I would imagine the shell and chassis of a caravan is about half the price. Is there something I'm missing, says Aiden in Ireland.
Wow. I love the science being applied to this. I wish it were that simple. It's a very valid question, and it does make you challenge, doesn't it, the value of a motorhome. You think, well, why is it that much? Of course, there's a load of costs gone into the production of a motorhome that you don't see. Research and development, accreditation, the distribution of them, funding the chassis. They cost a lot to actually sit there on the production line. They all carry costs. It's probably an hour-long answer to this, and some strong justification needed, perhaps, from a manufacturer, but I think it's a great observation.
Did you know in Ireland they don't have Boxing Day?
No.
No, they don't. They call it St Stephen's Day. We call it Boxing Day in England.
Why is it called Boxing Day?
Because I think it's the sports thing, isn't it? If you Boxing Day is a big, there's always a lot of sport, racing and stuff like that. And wasn't it boxing? People, sport.
Yeah, but also wasn't it about boxing gifts that were then given out to the poor?
If you knew?
Well, I don't know, because I've never had a definition. You know everything. I thought. It's the kind of weird, useless fact that you would know.
Cheers, Aiden, and enjoy St Stephen's Day. Daryl Carter has got in touch.
Hi Matt, this is Daryl from Chichester. We've just been to the NEC this October and bought ourselves a nice new Rapido C55 compact van, which we take delivery of next year. And of course I've been really busy looking at what extras I can do and what I can put on it. And I want to do some upgrades on the electric, solar panels, MPPT controllers, inverter, charger, that sort of thing with somebody like Bluefix. And my question to you is if I drive out of the showroom with my nice new shiny van and go to Bluefix and ask them to put the solar panels on the roof and do the electrical upgrades, how does that affect my warranty? One, obviously on the electrical side, and two, on the habitation and integrity of the van from a water point of view. Thanks in advance.
Cheers, Daryl. Appreciate the question. So what do you reckon then, Matt?
Yeah, well, using a reputable company like Bluefix is definitely a strong suit here because they will warranty their work. The moment they compromise the motorhome and drill it is when the manufacturer may not cover a leak that gets in through that drilled point. We had this years ago when I had a motorhome dealership. The customer brought their motorhome into us and it had water ingress. It was suffering with damp, and it had come in, rain had come in and water had come in through an external shower point that the customer had fitted. It wasn't the shower that was leaking, it was actually the point where they drilled the hole and hadn't sealed it very well, and it was still under manufacturer's warranty. The manufacturer wouldn't cover it because it wasn't factory fitted. It wasn't fitted by them, the manufacturer. And because the customer had done it themselves, they had to pay for the damp repair, which was thousands of pounds. So when you get somebody else to fit stuff to your motorhome, if they're compromising the integrity of the body, then the manufacturer is probably not going to cover it in the event that there's a problem. But using a reputable company like Bluefix, they will warranty their own work. And if they've caused a problem, then I'm very sure that Bluefix would want to rectify it. And of course, they are Motorhome Matt approved as well. So great to have another shout out for Bluefix.
Brilliant stuff. This is quite a long question. We better share this one. Matt McNulty is in Burgess Hill. He says, thanks for the great podcast that manages to be so entertaining while covering some really important topics for a newbie like me.
That's about you, that is.
Matt goes on to say, I have just been listening to your podcast on the state of the industry and can't help wondering that something needs fixing to improve sales, and that post-sale parking.
Post-sale parking. My own experience down here in deepest Sussex is that there isn't any available. I was looking earlier this year at buying a motorhome, and everywhere within 30 miles of me where I could park a motorhome when not in use was full or with a long waiting list. So it's about storing a motorhome, isn't it? I ended up buying a Westphalia Kelsey, a transit custom base, as I liked the layout, and it's the biggest I could actually fit on my drive. But it does have its constraints. A motorhome would meet our needs a lot better, but there is no way I can own one if I don't have somewhere to store it.
Is this a geographic thing, or is it a problem across the whole country? There must be a lot of people like me that want to own a motorhome but can't keep up the good work. What do you reckon then, Matt? I mean, the thing with drives as well, I remember buying a house 1997, and one of the little contracts, because it was from a developer, was that I couldn't store a caravan on my drive.
Yeah.
But motorhomes didn't count.
Well, we've talked about this in the past, haven't we? So there are deeds of covenant or restrictive deeds where you can't park a motorhome or campervan on your drive or on the road outside the house at all, or they're timed so you park it there for 12 hours. I feel your pain, though, because... But from the other side of this, so as a storage business operator, we are full. In fact, we are massively oversubscribed at MHC Storage, and we are desperate to try and find more land locally to us so we can expand the business. And it's really hard. We're working with CASOA, who are the trade body, the Caravan Storage Site Owners Association, and they will help farmers, for example, diversify. And increasingly, it's been in the news all year, isn't it? The farmers are looking to or needing to look at diversification, and caravan and motorhome storage is an ideal way for them to do it. But then it becomes about planning rules and restrictions on use of land. If there's an agricultural tie on it, it can't be used for anything but agriculture. So there's all these restrictive things in place. And where you are, in your corner of the world in Sussex, it will be about cost as well. Land is not cheap there because obviously it's ripe for development, and so using it for something like storing a motorhome caravan just is not cost effective. I certainly would not consider looking for a storage business in the Sussex area, not initially when there's much cheaper areas of the country that we could look at. So I think that's the issue. And I would get onto CASOA and ask them if they have any insight into where there might be space at a storage site near you.
But Matt says, is this a nationwide issue, is it?
Well, lack of storage. Yeah, well, of course, since the pandemic, motorhomes and caravan numbers have boomed on the road, and so more and more people are looking to put them in storage over winter or even all year. So there are 5 or 6 storage businesses around us, and most of them, if not all of them, are full or nearly full. We are massively oversubscribed. I mean, we've currently got a waiting list of over 70 people, and we've only got 220 spaces. So we're a small site, but we offer fantastic service, and I think that's why we're oversubscribed. But yeah, it is an issue, and certainly I think across the country there is a lack of storage facilities, hence CASOA are out campaigning and trying to attract other businesses to this industry of motorhome caravan storage.
It's the Motorhome Matt podcast with me, Keith Gooden.
And with me, Motorhome Matt.
And is brought to you with thatleisureshop.com. It's our Christmas special 2025. It's all questions and answers. Questions from you and answers from the Motorhome Matt, the expert. If he doesn't know, he'll ask somebody who does. Patrick's been in touch.
Here's a question for you, Matt. Where are all the electric camper vans at the show?
The show?
I'm guessing that was at one of the many shows we were at this year. I think that was recorded at the Motorhome Caravan Show at the NEC in Birmingham.
So, where are all the EV motorhomes, the electric motorhomes?
Outside on charge.
Hey!
I don't know. I mean, they don't exist, do they? I mean, you know that, Patrick. There aren't any. I mean, our heads on this as an industry are firmly in the sand.
Well, I mean, you say that, but it takes a lot of batteries, doesn't it? A lot of weight in a motorhome in order to power a large vehicle like that, which has also got things inside. It's not like a van. You say, oh, builders have got it. Yeah, but they empty their vans at night or go back to base and empty the vans and put them on charge and all the rest of it. They don't have that permanent weight, do they?
No.
So you add the battery weight to that, and basically the driver sits in the motorhome and you're overweight. And this is the problem, isn't it? It's weight.
So on that point, if it's an all-electric vehicle, you can be a 4.25 ton weight and drive it on a normal car license, or with your normal license, you can drive 250 kilograms. That's a fact that exists. But this is a massive topic, and it's all over the news recently. The ZEV mandate. It's called the Zero Emission Vehicle Mandate, and this is about manufacturers of cars and vans having to produce a high percentage of non-fossil fuel vehicles, and anything over that they get fined per vehicle, thousands of pounds. It's a massive topic. We've done hours of it in the past. Over the past 2 years, I think we've visited it several times. So if you're interested in this topic, go back through some of the old episodes and look at the topics on EV. And we interviewed the lovely Graham, who used to be at National Grid and is now out in the USA advising government over there on this huge topic. So there is loads there to go and dig into. It will be in the news next year, 2025, without a doubt, as our Labour government decide whether or not they are going to commit to the 2030 ZEV mandate, but we'll see.
So what do you reckon in the next 12 months? Are we going to see any EV motorhomes for sale? Reasonable price and reasonable range?
Reasonable price, no. Reasonable range, probably not. Yes, I think we'll see some for sale. It is a massive topic that our industry has still not got its head around. And I see all the time people asking, well, should I buy a diesel vehicle then? This is not, the ZEV mandate doesn't affect used vehicles, it only affects new. So I think your diesel motorhome is going to hold its value. It might go up a bit, but I certainly think it's going to hold its value, and it's definitely worth buying one, because you can't buy an electric one, and the electric ones are going to be really expensive, I think. So I think the diesel ones are going to hold value, and therefore it's great to buy one now.
There you go, Patrick. I wonder what you're going to get for Christmas. Oh, look outside the front window. You never know.
Tesla.
Yeah. Ian is in Poole. He says, I seem to remember you talking about the V16 emergency light for Spain from 2026 onwards a while back. It now seems they've upgraded the requirements to need V16 with DGT 3.0 cloud. What the hell is that?
So the warning triangle is being no longer recognised in Spain from January 2026. Yeah. You have to use a V16 beacon, which is a little orange flashing light, and I use them in my talk when I talk about preparing to go to Europe. They're recognised now as an alternative to the red warning triangle, but the triangle won't be recognised in Spain from January 2026. You have to have one of these beacons. And the requirement has increased to include a SIM card in the beacon that actually tells people where you are. Really clever. So when you trigger it, not only does it flash, but it tells the emergency services where you are. And that's what Spain are looking to demand people have. Will it roll out across the rest of Europe? Yes, I think it probably will. Yeah, why not? I think it's a brilliant idea.
It's a great idea, isn't it? I mean, you've broken down, you've got your beacon on, and of course you don't then have to walk, 100 yards or 200 yards down the back to put the triangle out?
45 metres.
45 metres. So
as per the highway code.
So about 48 yards then.
I don't know.
Oh, well. But if you've got this DGT 3.0 cloud, then it's got a tracker in it.
There's a signal that gets transmitted, yes. And we haven't got any of them here in the UK yet. We have got the non-SIM card versions, and I tell everyone, put one in your glove box. On the smart motorway, we know, it was on Panorama, I've talked about this a lot, lane 1, if you broke down in lane 1 or stopped, the detectors will not pick you up if you're in anything smaller than a Mini. So if you're in a Z4 BMW or little MG BGT, something like that, MX-5, they will not pick you up. It was Edmund King, the president of the AA, told us that a couple of Decembers ago.
This is smart motorways you're talking
about. And these detectors don't work. And then the BBC exposed, via their Panorama programme, the detectors hadn't even been working for 9 months, let alone picking up small cars. They're not picking anything up. So if you broke down in lane 1, that lorry driver that's coming up behind you will not get a red X, and they won't see you. And the risk is they go straight up the back of you. Putting a beacon on your roof of your car or behind the car gives you a chance of being seen, and they are a must-have. I refuse to drive in lane 1 of a smart motorway. I just won't do it. Unless I've got really good visibility ahead, I will stick in lane 2, and I will happily get told off by a police officer for doing it. I won't use lane 1 at all. They are lethal. They are stupid. And thankfully, we're not going to get any more in the UK.
And when you're talking about the lane 1, you're talking about the hard shoulder that's been opened for traffic.
Yeah, it's now a travelling lane 1, so the inside lane, if you like, I'm not going to get on my soapbox anymore about smart motorways, but I hate them. I don't want to spoil Christmas. But they are a brilliant stocking filler or a New Year gift. If you want a V16 beacon, we do sell them at thatleisureshop.com. We bring them in from Spain, and I'm sure in the future we will be bringing in the version that needs a SIM card. But of course, they carry a greater cost to run. But yeah, check them out. V16. And V16 is the colour orange, the speed they flash, and the fact they're visible from a kilometre away, not to be confused with the much cheaper version.
Thanks, Ian in Poole. Hope that's answered your question. Feliz Navidad, as they say in Spain. Feliz Navidad. You know what that means?
I don't actually know.
Another portion of stuffing, madam. OK, Jan Axton Rice is in Gloucestershire.
Hi, Matt. This is Jan Axton Rice from Gloucestershire. Nick and I have listened to all your podcasts prior to taking possession of our brand new motorhome. We're also brand new to motorhoming as well. And the one thing that I picked up on was the use of Solbio. Having been away in Spain for the last 2 months and only ever having used Solbio, I've been absolutely delighted that the loo is, I could say sweet smelling, but certainly very good. And I've also used it to clean the grey waste tank every couple of times, putting some down there and driving so it's swooshing around and cleaning. So thank you for that tip. Also, your very nice staff at the shop gave me a little bit of a discount when I went in and picked up two containers of it before we went away. So I don't need anything broadcast, but just to say it's been fantastic, and thank you for the suggestion.
Well, there you go.
Thank you, Jan.
Matt. Jan thinks you're a real hero.
She doesn't get out very much. Have you drunk it, though, Jan? That's the big question. I did. Don't do it. It's disgusting. Solbio, we love it. It's a brilliant chemical for your toilet. Completely environmentally friendly. If you've not tried it, then I'd recommend and I encourage you to try it. It's completely safe for the environment. Won't injure, hurt or harm any animal or human, should you choose to drink it. And they've got a new range of products as well, haven't they? They launched this year.
Yes, they have. What is it?
Fresh water tank cleaner, which is a single use, which is, I have to say, it's brilliant. Not only does it sanitize, it cleans the tank. We had loads of little black bits in the bottom of our water tank. So I was recently draining all the water out of our van, ready for the cold spell, because it got really cold the other week, didn't it? And I panicked and thought, blimey, this is really cold. So dropped all the water out, and all these black bits in the bottom. It's disgusting. So anyway, in went the Solbio. We treated the tank. All gone. Absolutely immaculately clean. Brilliant. Loved it. So that's one to get, definitely. There's also a surface cleaner, which we use at home, and it's superb. And they do a black street remover as well. So they're all completely environmentally friendly. They're all at thatleisureshop.com. In fact, at the moment, we've got all the UK stock still. So if you want some, there's very limited stock left, and it's only available in our shop.
Santa uses Solbio, you know.
Does he?
Oh, yes, because his reindeer, Dancer, Prancer, Donner, Blitzen, Rudolph and Crapper.
You've been telling that joke for years, haven't you? Have you waited all year to tell that?
Now, thanks for listening to our non-stop question and answers episode. A Merry Christmas to you from all of us here at the Motorhome Matt podcast. If somebody wants to ask you a question, Matt, what should they do?
We would love it if you did, because I guarantee if you've got the question, there's probably hundreds or thousands of people with the same question, and they are the gold in the podcast. Just head to mhmp.info/Ask Matt. You can record it, click the orange button, listen to it back before you press send, or you can fill in the form and we'll read it out for you. But whatever you do, please tell us where you are.
If you're looking for trusted brands and services, then make sure you visit the Motorhome Matt approved directory at mhmp.info/approved. mhmp.info/approved.
And we'd love it if you left the podcast a review. If you're listening on your favourite podcast app, you can do it there, or on Spotify, you can do it there too, or head to mhmp.info/review. And if you're watching on YouTube, please press subscribe and the little bell, brought to you by arrowbasecreative.co.uk.